Hello and how are you? Hey friends, welcome to the Shin Show. I am your host, Shenandoah Briscoe, coming to you from right here in St. Charles, Missouri. Yep, that's right, the start of the actual Lewis and Clark expedition. Not the Lewis and Clark expansion, but the expedition, the Lewis and Clark expedition, not the westward expansion. Of course, it was westward expansion when it started out, but it didn't become the Lewis and Clark westward expansion until they met here, both of them met up together in St. Charles, Missouri, and then started from there. Let's see, today is Saturday, January 12th, 2019, vlog 2514. I tell you what, there is snow on the ground out there. Boy, it snowed all last night and all the way through the day. There's snow just packed up from here to there. I mean, I don't know where we're going to put it all. It's not like you can just kind of toss it off to the side because, well, it's got to melt and go away. But it's everywhere. Yes, sir, it's everywhere. Hold on, that's not what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Yes, sir, snow showers. As a matter of fact, they're going to be continuing. That's right, continuing throughout the night. That's right, snow showers. Occasional snow showers, some rain mixed in, lows near 32 degrees Fahrenheit, winds north to northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chances of snow 60%, snow accumulation less than 1 inch. That's a good thing because we've already got about 8 of them out there already. Now then, Sunday, January 13th, variably cloudy with snow showers. Temperatures near nearly steady in the low to mid 30s. Winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chances of snow 40%. Snow accumulation less than an inch. And then Sunday night, overcast, low 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds north to northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday's weather forecast is Monday, January 14th, high cloudy, highs around 34, and winds light and variable, west to northwest, around 5 miles per hour. Monday night, cloudy skies early, then partly cloudy after midnight, lows near 24 degrees Fahrenheit, winds light and variable. So it ought to start clearing off by Monday, and Tuesday it might start clearing off. Seems how the temperatures are going to be raised up in the 40s. 40 might be enough to melt it off. Who knows? Partly cloudy skies, highs near 43. Winds southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies, lows near 31. Winds west southwest Tuesday night, January 15th, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now Wednesday, January 16th, cloudy, highs near 39 degrees, winds light variable around 5 miles per hour. Those are northward winds, by the way. Cloudy skies with a few showers later on at night, and around 30 degrees Fahrenheit, winds light variable. Chances of rain 40%, and rain has a tendency to melt snow, so we'll be on our way to being melted away. Now let's just hope it doesn't raise our rivers too high. All right, hey, that should be enough weather for you. Like I said yesterday, I was going to go ahead and continue the Lewis and Clark adventure with the introduction to Sacagawea. And while at Fort Mandain, Lewis and Clark met a French-Canadian trapper, Toussaint Carbon, Carbonon, Carbenon, and hired him as an interpreter. They allowed his pregnant Shoshone wife, Indian wife, Sacagawea, to join him on the expedition. Sacagawea had been kidnapped by Hittite Indians at the age of 12 and then sold to Carbonian, and then Lewis and Clark hoped that she could help them communicate with the Shoshone they encountered on their journey. On February 11th, 1805, Sacagawea gave birth to a son and named him Baptiste, Jean Baptiste. She became an individual and respected asset for Lewis and Clark. Invaluable. Yeah, that's what it was. She became an invaluable and respected asset for Lewis and Clark. Crossing the Continental Divide. You know, the water on one side of the divide runs north and south, and on the opposite, it runs east and west. No, north to south, and on the opposite side, it runs south to north. Didn't know that for a long time. I often wondered why my river ran backwards here in front of my house, but it did. All right. Oh, where'd we go here? Crossing the Continental Divide on April 7th, 1805, Lewis and Clark sent some of their crew and their keelboats loaded with zoological and botanical samplings, maps, reports, and letters back to St. Louis, while they and the rest of the Corps headed for the Pacific Ocean. They They crossed through Montana and made their way to the Continental Divide via Lima Pass, where, with Sacagawea's help, they purchased horses from the Shoshone. While their Saskatchewan reunited, while there, Sacagawea reunited with her brother, Kamishwat, whom she hadn't seen since she was kidnapped. The group next headed out of Lima Pass and crossed the Bitterroot mountain range using the Harrowing Lolo Trail and the help of many horses and a handful of Shoshone guides. This leg of the journey proved to be most difficult, as many of them suffered from frostbite, hunger, dehydration, and bad weather, freezing temperatures, and exhaustion. Still, despite the miraculous merciless terrain and conditions, not a single soul was lost. After 11 days on the Lola Trail, the Corps stumbled upon a tribe of friendly Nez Perce Indians along Idaho's Clearwater River. The Indians took in the weary travelers, fed them, and helped them regain their health. As the Corps recovered, they built dugout canoes, then left their horses with the Nez Perce and braved the Clearwater River rapids to Snake River and then to Columbia River. They reportedly ate dog meat along the way instead of wild game. Fort Calstop. Okay, a brigade of the Harrod Corps finally reached the stormy Pacific Ocean in November 1805. They completed their mission and had to find a place to live for the winter before heading home. They decided to make camp near present-day Astoria, Oregon, and started building Fort Clatsop on December 10th and moved in by Christmas. It was not an easy winter at Fort Clatsop. Everyone struggled to keep themselves and their supplies dry and fought on an ongoing battle with tormenting fleas and other insects. Almost everyone was weak and sick with stomach problems, likely caused by bacterial infections, hunger, or influenza-like symptoms. The journey home. On March 23, 1806, the Corps left Fort Clatsop for home. They retrieved their horses from the Nez Perce and waited until June for the snow to melt to cross the mountains into the Missouri River Basin. After again traversing the rugged Bitterroot mountain range, Lewis and Clark split up at Lola Pass. Lewis's group took a shortcut north to the Great Falls of the Missouri River and explored the Marias River, a tributary of the Missouri in present-day Montana, while Clark's group, including Sacagawea and her family, went south along the Yellowstone River. The two groups planned to rendezvous where the Yellowstone and the Missouri met in North Dakota. Pompey's Pillar. On July 25, 1806, Clark carved his name on and the date on a large rock formation near the Yellowstone River he named Pompey's Pillar after Sacagawea's son, whose nickname was Pompey. The site is now a national monument. Managed by the U.S. Department of the Interior. 2 days later, at Marias River near present-day Cutbank, Montana, Lewis and his group encountered 8 Blackfeet warriors and were forced to kill 2 of them when they tried to steal weapons and horses. The location of the clash became known as Two Medicine Fight Site. It was the only violent episode of the expedition, although soon after the Blackfeet fight, Lewis was accidentally shot in his buttocks during a hunting trip. The injury was painful and inconvenient, but not fatal. On August 12th, Lewis and Clark and their crews reunited and dropped off Sacagawea and her family at the Mandan villages. They then headed down the Missouri River, with the currents moving in their favor this time, and arrived in St. Louis on September 23rd, where they were received with a hero's welcome. The Lewis and Clark Expedition's legacy. Lewis and Clark returned to Washington, D.C. in the fall of 1806 and shared their experiences with President Jefferson. Not only had they completed their mission of surveying the Louisiana Territory from the Mississippi River to the Pacific Ocean, though they failed to identify a coveted Northwest Passage across the continent, they did so again against tremendous odds with just 1 death and little violence. The Corps had traveled more than 8,000 miles, produced invaluable maps and geographical information, identified at least 120 animal specimens and 200 botanical samples, and initiated peaceful relations with dozens of Native American tribes. Both Lewis and Clark received double pay in the 16,000 acres of land for their efforts. Lewis was made governor of Louisiana Territory, and Clark was appointed Brigadier General of Militia for Louisiana Territory and a federal Indian agent. Clark remained well respected and lived a successful life. Lewis, however, was not an effective governor and drank too much. He never married or had children and died in 1809 of 2 gunshot wounds, possibly self-inflicted. A few years later, Sacagawea died, and Clark became her children's guardian. Despite Lewis's tragic end, his expedition with Clark remains one of America's most famous duos and their men. America's most famous duos. Most famous. The duo and their men, with aid of Sacagawea and other Native Americans, helped strengthen America's claim to the West and inspired countless other explorers and Western pioneers. There you have it. That is the background on the Lewis and Clark expedition. Now I'm going to have to jump on over to the Our Daily Bread, which is the odb.org. You can find it. Our Welcoming God. Yes, the Bible. I'll be reading today. I'll be reading Acts 34 through 10. Acts 10:34 through 38. Our welcoming God. Yes, sir. Our welcoming God welcomes us anywhere and everywhere. Um, the devotion today is kind of about a lady who was taken out of her school and made to go to a different school altogether. Back in the day, they called that not segregation, inclusion, and they were segregating. Not segregating, they were putting all the schools together. Well, this just so happened to be a black lady, and she was removed from her black school and placed into a white school where she did not want to be. She was separated from all her friends and all her teachers, but it did teach her how to become a strong individual and a forgiving person. And that's what God is to us, a very strong individual and forgiving God. He forgives us for whatever we do, and we get to be forgiven through his son, Jesus Christ. So anyway, here we go. Acts 10:34 through 38. Then Peter began to speak. I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism, but accepts from every nation the one who fears him and does what is right. You know, the message God sent to the people of Israel, announcing the good news of peace through Jesus Christ, who is Lord of all. You know what has happened throughout the province of Judea, beginning in Galilee after the baptism that John purchased, how God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and power, and how he went around doing good and healing all who were under the power of the devil, because God was with him. And there you have it, Acts 10:34 through 38. Please follow me with the Bible in a year, and that'll be the Bible with Briscoe, that is. And today you'll be reading Genesis 29 through 30 and Matthew 9:1 through 17. So that'll be good. Come on in, read it, and enjoy it, and listen to me. Tune in on YouTube, The Bible with Briscoe. All right, got one more song for you, and that would be, well, goodbye, my friends. It's a time to go. I said, goodbye, my friends. It's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must go. Goodbye, my friends, goodbye. This here's been Shenandoah Briscoe saying hello and how are you? Thanks for tuning in to the Shen Show, and as always, you know, God loves you and so do I, so be blessed in Jesus' mighty name, and come back and see me tomorrow because, well, I'll be here, and I hope you are